Up your game and celebrate things done well with the great taste of Original 16, official beer of the Calgary Flames. All right, guys, we welcome you inside Flames TV Live, the post-game show brought to you by Original 16. Brendan Parker alongside Cory Sarich. Following a loss here tonight, the first of the season in regulation for the Calgary Flames, 4-2 the final. Hurricanes come in and now have, as they move toward the latter half of this six-game road trip, have back-to-back wins through Alberta. Obviously feeling pretty good about their game. They were effective here tonight. Flames had stretches and then some stretches where they weren't. And maybe just start with your overall assessment of how things look tonight.
Well, it was not a bad start for the Calgary Flames tonight. They came out and they got some pucks deep and generated a few chances early. But then, about after the first 5 minutes, things kind of went flat for the Calgary Flames. And it took them until midway through the second period to gain some traction and get going again. And that seemed to be kind of where all the damage was done. There was a 10-minute stretch in the first period where the Flames didn't generate a shot. And then at the start of that second period, there was about a 5-minute span where the Carolina Hurricanes outshot the Flames 10-1. And that's where all the damage was done. There was 2 goals scored in a matter of minutes, and it was pretty hard to recover from. Great effort by the Flames again tonight, trying to claw back into this one. They already have 3 come-from-behind wins, but it was just a little too much tonight to overcome.
Yeah, they actually they get that goal in the second period to give them some life, and it seemed like there were some chances throughout the third period, but couldn't find one. Let's go through the goals, shall we, and take a look at how it all goes down here tonight. And you mentioned some of the chances early on the Flames had in the first 2 minutes of the first period, but it quickly shifted here about the midway mark, and it's a power play goal. It's some nice puck movement and finished off by Seth Jarvis.
That was a very organized power play. There's a one-timer. They retrieve the puck again. Couple of passes and they find their guy down low, and the Flames were just caught out of position on that one, and really nice finish by the Hurricanes on that goal.
So Jarvis gets his second from Aho and Natchez, and in the second period we go. You see the ice is still fresh, and this one came quick, about 41 seconds in on a nice rebound off the face-off win.
Yeah, Roslovic just goes ahead and gets lost. He somehow gets in behind all of the black jerseys out there. It's a beautiful tip. He knows he's got time. He knows he's got no one around him. Patience by Roslovic, and he puts it in, and it's 2-0 for the Canes.
Yeah, has to corral that for a second there, and is able to still find enough time to hit the yawning cage. And kind of similar in this goal, maybe a few seconds after the faceoff, but it comes off an ozone win, and then it's Natchez who actually had the puck first, finishes it off.
Yeah, and Gostisbehere, he had an effect on this game tonight. He hit a post. He generates the rebound there from off the wing, and Natchez, that's a nice shot, but a tough screen on Vladar there by his own teammate.
Here's the little bit of life they got, though, in that second period, and Jake Bean kind of talked about how the speed was a lot in the first period, and then another face-off win, which proved to be really effective for both teams here on the win by Backlund, and it's kind of a seeing eye shot from Bean.
Yeah, and lots of goals coming from Flames defense again this year. That's kind of been the theme, and Jake Bean chips in here with one tonight.
So for Bean, that's his first as a member of the Calgary Flames, makes it 3-1 going into the third, and then you think here maybe got some extra life. They've been a team that's come from behind 3 times this season. Jonathan Huberdeau, the beneficiary of this one.
Yeah, Justin Kirkland with a beauty screen in front here. Pass from Ball back to Anderson, and Anderson's had a hand in on most of the goals for the Calgary Flames this year. It's a very timely goal, and it gives them life here with about 6 minutes to play.
Yeah, up to 9 points now on the year for Rasmus Andersson, but unfortunate timing on the goalie pole here as the puck comes back towards the Flames' end, and it's finished off by Eric Robinson. So that is the final 4-2 there, and Robinson seals it into the empty net. And obviously a push in the third period, and we kind of would expect that. They get the one to get within one. And then obviously Carolina seemed to kind of ground their feet in a little bit too and make things a little bit more difficult after that 3-2 goal. But can't leave it all the time for those third period heroics, can you?
Yeah, and I thought the Flames started to get a little bit of traction in the second half of the second period. We saw Jake Bean's goal there during that second period. But again, you can't start and play just half a game and expect to get the results.
Yeah.
And they did make a good push. There were some scrambles around the Canes net at the very end of the game there in the last few minutes before that goalie pull and unfortunate the empty netter. But again, it just a little too late, right? And it's interesting. You have the Canes that come into Alberta and they have a slow start up in Edmonton, and they get behind the 8 ball and they come roaring back, and then all of a sudden, a team like that They're smart, they're an experienced team, and they learn from it. And I thought their start tonight, maybe besides that first 3 minutes, they came out and dominated the first half of that game. I don't want to blame it on the Calgary Flames for maybe their flat play or not being as sharp as they could be. You got to give the Hurricanes some credit. Right. They capitalized, they moved pucks well. They threw a lot of pucks at Dan Vladar, and then their traffic tonight around the net was impressive, and it helped on a lot of their goals.
Yeah, I think guys said it right off the start. They knew that there'd be a lot of rubber coming near the Flames' crease tonight because they're a high-volume team, and they're up at over 40 shots. So that was certainly the goal for Carolina here tonight, and it paid dividends. Let's get some reaction inside the Flames locker room now and hear from Blake Coleman following tonight's 4-2 loss.
It couldn't go on forever, obviously, but just the idea of, what you saw out there tonight on a game that you would have dearly loved to keep this momentum rolling, but what did you see?
Yeah, we were just a little flat for the first 25 minutes of the game, 30 minutes of the game, and gave a good team a few power play opportunities, then they cash in, and but I thought the response was good. We were never out of the game. We came back, made it a 1-goal game there with a chance to tie late. So, we've played with fire a little bit, getting behind in some games, and you're not going to come back every time. So, just take it as a lesson to start on time and go from there.
Obviously, you feel good about your third periods, though, and always staying right in it no matter what the score says.
Yeah, there's no quit. Everybody believes we're in every game, and for whatever reason, there just wasn't that juice in the legs until too late. And as a player, you just look to maybe your routine and your answers for why you didn't feel that jump right away, and work on it and be better.
Can you speak to how Vladar kept you guys in that game?
Yeah, Vladdy was awesome all night. Made some 10-bellers and gave us a chance to be fighting to tie the game at the end. Without him, there's no opportunity to get back in that game. So, both our goalies have been really strong for us, and they're going to need to continue to be, as we move forward.
Like falling behind, is that sort of a message a little bit like, hey, we're playing with fire, we can come back, we don't want to do it?
Oh, it's going to happen. You're not going to be behind every game. You're not going to lead every game. There's been a little bit of both, and knowing that we have that ability to come back is important. But it'd be nice to play with some leads here and find ways to win that way as well. So for me, it was more about just the lack of jump in the beginning of the game, and execution was sloppy. But they're an aggressive team. You tip their hat. They came in ready to play and forced us into some bad plays and turnovers, and it was just kind of sloppy from us. It took us a little too long to figure out how to break it down.
How does that aggressiveness, Carolina, does it seem like they relent in the least? Like, how did that affect puck play, giveaways, things like that?
Well, it's really not unlike how we are trying to play. I think they just did it better than us tonight in terms of, like I said, I think they had a little more fight and jump in their game early on, and I thought we turned the tables on them as the game turned. So, you start on time, and you're probably looking at a pretty evenly played match.
Thanks, Blake.
All right, there's some good reaction, as we always get from Blake Coleman, one of the leaders on this team. And, if you start on time, you're maybe looking at a different match. Probably a fair assessment there from him, too?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that just previously, right?
Yeah.
You can't give a good team time and not be under pressure, not being forechecked, and they just kind of took advantage. They took the territory. Most of the play was in the Flames' end for the first half of that game, and what happens is puck usually ends up in your net, which it did tonight.
At some point or another.
Yeah.
I want to go back to, I guess it was the second period, and Mackenzie Weegar drew some the ire of the Carolina Hurricanes after firing the puck into the net with Kochetkov's helmet had already come off, whistle had gone, and obviously he gets the penalty for firing it into the open net. But, maybe the similar conversation, because Vancouver, they got burned. I wondered if maybe that was part of the conversation Ryan Huska was having with the officials too, because of we'll take a look at the one that happened in Vancouver, and obviously this is the one that gets scored on Calgary, and it's Vladar in the net, but his helmet comes off. This one doesn't. It's quicker, bang, bang, obviously, but they didn't blow that one down.
Yeah, there's not really an opportunity for the ref to even get his whistle in his mouth to realize what's happening. I know Vladar does a nice job there of trying to get it off of his head, but completely different play, more reactionary there, and that goal is going to go in.
This one, Anderson kind of falls on Kochetkov, I guess, too, but the whistle definitely goes. Either way, you can argue the merit of whether or not it should be blown dead, and I'm sure that was part of the conversation, but clearly it had gone before the puck was fired in.
There's enough. When you see that replay from the top and you see how long Kochetkov's been laying there, there's ample amount of time. And we talked about a few different things. You can see, I thought that Mackenzie Weegar, even while he's arguing his point, the expression on his face tells me kind of knew exactly what he was doing by just letting it go a little bit late. And obviously the whistle's gone. The ref made a good attempt to blow it. I think they're just two totally different plays. And I think actually on both that it's the right call on both. I don't think that Vladar has a chance to make a save. I don't think he's in danger on that rebound on the first goal that we see.
Yep.
But again, it's crappy for Flames fans either way in both instances. So, but you know what? Things usually level themselves out and even out over the course of a year. So just be patient.
Yeah, just be patient. Eventually it comes around. But in either way, it's somewhat subjective. I know there's a rule in there about possession, but at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the official who's making that call on the ice, and he's got to make a decision whether or not there's a safety hazard at play too, right? So,
and I don't think those are challengeable, or you can get the replay out to see. So again, once the ref makes his call too, he's not going to be changing his mind unless the other officials maybe step in and have seen it in a different light.
Over and done with, and moving forward. Let's go back inside the locker room. We got the captain standing by. Here's Michael Backlund now postgame.
What's maybe your biggest takeaway as a group?
I thought they got some momentum on the power play, and then they had a better start in the second, but then I thought we climbed our way into the game halfway in, and I thought second half of the game we were the better team, but there was no quit in the boys, but it wasn't good enough in the end.
How challenging is it to play a team like Carolina that doesn't give you any time or space and is super aggressive and unrelenting?
Yeah, no, it's hard. We knew that going into the game, it was going to be a hard night. That's a similar style we want to play. That's why we had success to start the season, because we've been playing a relentless game and with a lot of pace and being aggressive. So we knew that going into the game, that was going to be a tough one tonight, and it was right from the start. They're a little better than us early on, and then we gave it a push, but it wasn't good enough.
What do you think of your goaltending?
Yeah, Vladdy was really good. He gave us a chance to stay in the game, make some really big saves.
Goaltending so far this season has really been a story, hasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
It's not lost on you guys.
No, for sure. No, they've been great, both of them. Both Vladdy and Wolfie played really well, and it's great to see. Gives the whole team a boost and belief, and they've been really good right from the start of camp to the regular season.
He looked exhausted at the end there, didn't he?
Pardon me?
He looked exhausted at the end.
Vladdy?
Yeah.
We'll have to ask him.
All right, so there's some thoughts from the captain, Michael Backlund, and actually, before we're going to talk to, we heard the question about Vladdy at the end, and he had a lot of work, and I'm sure it was a little fatigue. Actually, let's go to that now. I mean, 40-plus shots tonight, and some real 10-bellers to keep them in this one late, and I know they get the one into the empty net, but just, the body of work, he was busy throughout the course of the night and made some really good stops for this team.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Brendan, how well these Carolina Hurricanes use the seam. And he had those shots where he had to go post to post all night long, and he did a great job. He did get some good breaks. There was a side of the net. There was a couple of posts that ended up sticking in him. This is the one here, though, that I hope it is just fatigue at the end of the game, at the end of the day, because he looked to be a little bit slow moving after that one particular save.
Yeah, that one cross ice one that I think it ends up catching the piece of the post, and then there was the wraparound. Yeah, there you go.
That's a little bit later.
Yeah.
There was probably those two saves where he just looked a little bit uncomfortable, and Vladar had the injury that he dealt with in the offseason, and I just you always hope that again, it's just no big deal, and he's going to move on past it.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And it was a busy night, and he ends up making 39 saves here on 42 shots, I believe is what it finishes up as. And obviously, Vladdy's in the room now, so let's hear from Dan Vladar following tonight's loss.
But overall, what did you think of your group's performance and maybe a little resiliency despite coming up short?
I mean, guys said it, knives and backs, like last 30 minutes. I think we proved we can play against anyone, and we showed that we were a better team last 30 minutes. So unfortunate that first 30 they came hard at us, but I think if we're gonna play like the last 30 minutes, we have a really good chance of going far and just have a good season.
So that was, sorry, Nazem and Michael said after the game that those last 30 minutes we can hang with everyone?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, everyone agreed, like, if you're going to play, like, the last 30, like, we are going to have success. So we all know that. So lesson learned, hopefully, and let's get ready for Winnipeg on Saturday.
How did you feel at the end? It looked as though, and I don't want to speculate, but just the idea of either being fatigued or being maybe a little nicked up. How did you feel?
I mean, the first 25 minutes it didn't stop, so I was really tired. I skated a lot last couple of days, so tomorrow when I'm going to talk to goalie coach, I'll let him know that it was too much last couple of days because I was really tired. I was cramping up at the end, so that's it. Yeah.
Nothing beyond cramp.
No, just cramping up.
So, and I mean, going back to, so like, is there a level of confidence with this group? Like, obviously with your start and everything, but knowing that you can sort of hang around with some of the teams that are maybe on paper a little bit better?
Well, we know what we have in this locker room. We have a bunch of really good leaders here, and we are all really good friends. We are like one big family, so we have no doubt in ourselves, and we don't even believe. We know we are good, so we just got to play like the last 30 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Cheers to another season of great times and great taste. Celebrate things done well. Original 16, official beer sponsor of the Calgary Flames. Must be legal drinking age.
All right, welcome back inside our Flames post-game live, brought to you by Original 16 is on the air. Got some reaction from the Calgary Flames locker room. Heard from Blake Coleman, Michael Backlund, as well as the goaltender Dan Vladar. And good to hear Vladdy confirming there, as we were just talking about it going in. A little bit of cramping there at the end, which is positive news considering what we were seeing there just on the visuals on some of those saves late.
Yeah, that is good news. And I just wanted to make one quick comment about his comments. That was one of the most polite ways that a goaltender can tell their team that, hey, wake up and be ready to go next time. They've already obviously discussed it. Clearly, everyone's aware of the situation and knows that you've got to put in the full 60 minutes. But I've had a few of my teammates that would not have been so polite, and maybe behind closed doors it might be a little bit different version. And Dan Vladar tonight had every reason to probably be a little bit frustrated with his teammates off the start. But again, learning experience. It's early in the season, and you hope that they'll take that one and put it in the memory bank. Yeah, first 30 and last 30 is kind of what he pointed out, and obviously they'll focus a little bit more on the final 30 when it comes to tonight's hockey game. And let's hear from the coach now. So we got head coach Ryan Huskett. He's standing by at the podium. Let's get some reaction from the head coach following tonight's loss.
Dan said that after the game, Nazem and Michael just told the group, like, the last 30 minutes is how we want to play, and we've shown that we can hang around with teams like that. Like, did you feel that way, and what do you feel about that message?
Yeah, I don't think it's hanging around with teams. I think there's a way that we have to play, and I thought the first 6 minutes of the game, we were pretty good, and then we slowed it down in the neutral zone, and we spent about 2.5 minutes in our own zone, and I think from that point it shifted for the rest of the first period and into the second before we got back to trying to play the way we need to play to have success. So I don't think it's hanging with teams. I think it's just making sure that we're clear on the direction and the way or style that we have to play.
The numbers sort of came back, but it did feel like they were sort of pretty dominant on face-offs early in the game.
They scored 2 goals off face-offs, so there was a big issue for our club in that area tonight.
Ryan, how do you think Pospisil looked playing on the wing tonight?
I thought he was fine. He had more hits. He was physical for us. A few of his puck touches I think could have been a little bit better, but he was skating tonight.
A little bit too much to ask for your goaltender tonight, I'm pretty sure.
Well, they're a shot volume team, so that's one of the hard parts about playing Carolina is they shoot the puck a lot, so your goalie has to always be ready because they're coming from bad angles, long shots, wherever it is. So you expect the shot totals to be a little bit higher against them, for sure, but I thought there were stretches where we got away from how we have to play, where we opened ourselves up way too much, and he had to make too many saves for sure.
What was part of that was one of those stretches, the first 5 minutes of the second period just seemed like that's where the game was lost to me. But.
Yeah, it was for sure, without a doubt, and I thought we sagged at that point where we got away from how we have to play. You see, when we got a few hits as the game went going. We started to get the building more involved. Once we started to play a little bit more to the way we have to consistently play.
My sense is that a lot of fans will go, well, you know what, we had 5 wins and a tie. This is not a big deal. I'm assuming that's not the way your room will take this.
I would hope they don't. It's a hard league to win in, and you take your foot off for a second, and our team is when you look at the way we have to play, it's so important for us to be consistent with what we do. And I don't think for the last couple games we've been there for 60 minutes. The stretches, but we are not a team that cannot play 60 minutes.
Ryan, did you get an explanation on the McKenzie penalty at the end of the second there?
Yeah, it was just that he felt like McKenzie shouldn't have shot the puck at that stretch. I didn't hear the whistle on the bench. It wasn't a loud whistle in my opinion, but I get it.
Do you look at the 2 goals that were just off of defensive zone faceoffs? Like, how do you guys prevent that, or is that a little bit cause for concern or anything?
No, I think that's an area that we have to get better in. One, your centermen have to dig in harder. If you're losing faceoffs, then you expect your players to block shots. And then 3, you have to make sure you're much harder around your net front. So there are no second opportunities in front. So that to me is all work related. Okay, thank you guys.
11 a.m. tomorrow.
All right, there's some thoughts from the head coach, Ryan Huska, following the loss here tonight. And, that'll be one of the topics of conversation. Face-offs are important, and when you give up a couple face-off goals. I mean, I think the percentages have been lower to start the season to begin with, but when you give up goals off the face-off, that's when it starts to be amplified a little bit more.
Yeah, you can get away with those numbers if the puck's not in the back of your
Sure,
net, but as soon as it is, then all of a sudden it's a cause for concern. They did try a little bit of a different look tonight with juggling the lines, having Justin Kirkland slide up, getting Rooney back in the lineup tonight, and then just, giving Martin Pospisil a night off from that position. Yeah. It's not easy. It's one of the toughest positions to play, not alone just the face-offs for a centerman, but the dedication to your own end and then having to get up and hustle and get into the play offensively. So it's a lot to concentrate on, and it's, you look at this team, they have some very veteran centers on it.
Sure, that's the other thing. Yeah.
If we look back to the last game you just pulled it out against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Those aren't easy teams to face.
No, that's Crosby. There's some big boys that have some experience in the dot.
So I like what Ryan Huska's saying. Off of a draw, it's got to be D-men ready to jump in on it. You got to have wingers ready to go. You got to be hungry, and then the quicker you react, the less you give the other team. And then again, I love the heart around the net. That's got to be a staple of any good hockey team.
Yeah, it's easy to point to the centerman when it comes to face-off percentages, but as we know, there's a lot more that goes into that, and it's taking your guy and it's making sure that you're in the right position to support that centerman.
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking to Matt Stajan today, who's the obviously helping these guys out as the skills coach.
Skills
and
development.
He was a really good centerman, very defensive-minded centerman, and he said throughout his career he had to harp at his wingers over and over and over. They needed constant reminder just that it's part of their job to get in there. And I've been yelled at by a few centermen too to maybe pick it up a notch and get in the battles. And as again,
because sometimes they're just trying to lock up too, right? Like you tie up.
It's tie-ups. It's pushing the puck to the boards to a certain spot if they're on their forehand.
Sure.
And then you need your teammates to battle and get that puck for you. So
little communication.
Definitely doesn't all fall on the centerman.
For sure. And that's something that I'm sure will be the topic of conversation around these parts moving forward. And that's where we'll carry it on to, because coming up next, they got a Saturday game against the Winnipeg Jets, who have also started the season out pretty well. So the task does not get any easier as this homestand wraps up on Saturday night for the Calgary Flames. As for tonight, it's the first regulation loss of the season. There was Justin Kirkland. He's been the story, and what a good one it has been for the Flames in front of his family and his wife Madison there as well. 4-2 the final here tonight, though, is the Canes score the first 3 goals of the game. The Flames cut it to within 1, but were not able to find the equalizer on this night as the empty netter seals it for the Hurricanes. That's the next contest. The Jets are in town following a game they're playing in Seattle tonight, so we'll see the Jets here for a 5 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Look forward to that one. Thanks for watching Flames Postgame Live, brought to you by Original 16. We'll see you right back here at the Dome Saturday night.